Hello and welcome back to r/entitled parents. And if you're new here, I hope you enjoy.
Mum claims that I was starving her daughter at a homeless shelter because she didn't like the food. A few years ago, I used to work at a homeless shelter for single women and women with children. Their length of stay depended on many factors, and to be able to stay, they had to work on getting housing and a job if they didn't have one. They could be kicked out for a few different things, such as taking illegal meds, harassing staff or others, or not obeying the rules, etc. We served them breakfast and dinner, with them having to get lunch on their own, as we were not a day shelter and they needed to go out and look for housing or a job during the day. For a while, I was overseeing about 30 women and children that were staying with us. Entitled Mother was with us for about a month. She had 2 teen daughters, one of which was entitled teen, and she was a really picky eater. I took them to the dining hall every night, where our food was decent. Way better than the school food, but not great. I personally have eaten the food quite a few times myself. Entitled Teen refused to eat anything that was served, so Entitled Mother was buying tons of cups of noodles and microwavable food. They did not have access to a microwave, but I did in the back that staff used, and we were allowed to heat stuff up for the clients. After a while, it became too much for me to handle, on top of my other duties, as now I had Entitled Mother's kids coming up to me multiple times a night to heat up their food. Her other daughter would eat our food, but still wanted cups of noodles alongside Entitled Teen. I talked to my boss about this, and she told me that I could put a ban on the microwave for food they brought in, and they were not even supposed to be bringing in more food than a day's worth, as there was no room. We had canned or microwavable food in the back in case someone came in late and missed the dinner time, but I was not to give it to anyone who was there for dinner and did not like the food. Entitled Teen had asked me a few times if I could give her some of that food, and I would get mad, and she would get mad and give me attitude when I told her that I couldn't. Soon after the ban, Entitled Mother started claiming that I was starving her daughter. I told her the rules and that her daughter had plenty of opportunities to eat. We served 2 meals a day, plus I know Entitled Teen gets free meals at school. I have the opportunity to kick people out if need be, but I did not have the heart to throw 2 teens out on the street. One night, Entitled Mother got so fed up with me, starving her daughter, that she started screaming at me in front of everyone. Entitled Mother screaming, "You're starving my daughter, this is BS and we are leaving." Entitled Teen tries to calm Entitled Mother down. "Mum, it's okay, you're embarrassing me, we can't leave, where would we go?" Entitled Mother, "Go back to the room, we're packing and leaving." They ended up staying the night, and since it was a Friday, I had the next 2 days off. We had to fill out shift reports at the end of every shift, and I wrote down what had happened. When I showed up to work on Monday, they'd been kicked out by my boss, who told me that I should have kicked them out after that. Entitled Mother had been having a horrible attitude towards other staff as well, and that should have been the last straw. By the way, we did not starve anyone, but if you've chose to not eat the food we offered, then it's not our fault. Edit. To those asking if the daughter had sensory issues or autism, the mum would have told us if she knew. It is a possibility that maybe the daughter did and her mum did not know. We had a mum with an autistic 5-year-old son who stayed for a few weeks, and we worked with her to accommodate her son as best we could. One time he escaped the property and I helped find him in our work van. He was safe and sound. To answer the microwave questions I've been getting, I asked my boss if we could get a microwave in the common area that our clients could use. That way I could keep my duties and they could heat up stuff. She told me no, probably due to lack of funds to buy one, but I would have been willing to buy it with my own money. We did have hot water in the bathroom, and sometimes they filled up their cup of noodles that way. And as for workload, I was heating up stuff about 10 times a night, and that was taking away from my actual job. Making sure everyone was safe, watching security cameras, handling emergency situations, answering phone calls, doing intake of new clients, and other such duties. I was the only staff on duty during my shift a lot of the time. I wouldn't have minded so much if it was once in a while, and if I had help and support. Also, I really did like these children. They were sweet and gave me a Disney pin. As I mentioned, I loved Disney stuff. I was mad my boss kicked them out, but being rude and screaming at staff is unacceptable. I do not blame the daughter at all, but her mum. My girlfriend's entitled mother is annoyed at her for deleting a tracking app she let the entitled mother use. I'm posting this for her since her account doesn't meet the karma requirement. I am a truck driver and my mother has been envious of me ever since I started training. She's wanted to be a truck driver her whole life, and my occupation has enabled her to live vicariously through me. I was never necessarily fond of this, but she's my mother, so I let it go. When I finished training and started driving, I downloaded a family tracking app on my phone, so my boyfriend, who would join me on the road a little later on, could see where I was and help direct me to nearby truck stops. The GPS in my truck doesn't let me change where I'm going while driving. I offered to share my location via the app with my mother since she is so passionate about truck driving and would give her a chance to experience it, just a little bit. She took this as an opportunity to attempt to run my life for me. She would often get paranoid from watching videos of trucking accidents and constantly blew up my phone, which I'm not allowed to check while driving, warning me of various places and things to look out for. Other people might be grateful of this constant advice giving, but to me, it was just annoying. She also went completely ballistic whenever the app was disabled due to low or dead battery, and would blow me up and my boyfriend's phone in a panic, demanding to know where I am and if I'm safe. While I do appreciate the fact that she cares about me, having to deal with this for a month straight started to take its toll on me and my job. I got the chance to visit my sister who knows of my mother's bipolar actions and warned me to delete the app before she takes things too far. I took her advice and deleted the app after letting my boyfriend know what was going on. I gave my mum a call and let her know that I no longer wanted to use the app and deleted it. This sent her into a rage and she started berating me and my sister, who she knew I visited with earlier. I ignored her tantrum and gave her the cold shoulder for a month to let her cool down. Her birthday came around the corner and I sent her a well-meaning message wishing her a happy birthday. She responds to said message complaining about how me and my sister were planning a special event for my father. They're divorced and he's way better to me and my sister, but not her. Keep in mind, my father and sister live in Texas and my mum is all the way in California, so it's difficult to arrange anything for her given how far she is. Here is a screenshot of the conversations between me and her to shed a little light on how crazy she can be. Hello, are you still alive? Hi mum, sorry, yeah, I've been super busy lately. I'm heading to bed. I hope you sleep well. Wow, okay. What's wrong? Sleep well. Okay mother, I love you. Love you too, call me tomorrow. Thanks, OP. Be like your sister. Don't ever call me again. Don't ever bother coming out here either. I'm sorry you felt like I was cleaning. I was just enjoying what you were doing, but I guess I'll just stay in caregiving since that's what I know and I can't trust you to train me. There's nothing wrong with being a mum and worrying about your kids, and I pray to God that you don't ever have any. I flaming knew your sister had something to do with this. I just flaming knew it. I was learning so much from you. Now I'm over it. And you. I was not clinging, I was trying to learn from you, but whatever. I just told your boyfriend I don't ever want to see you. I'm so sorry I care so much about your safety, and you've taken it the wrong way. And you will never get your pictures from me, I'll just throw them away. You can tell your sister the same thing. All her pictures are in the trash too. Have a good life. I'm changing my number so you can never call. Hi mum, just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Happy early birthday, love you. It's not till Saturday. You know, I'm kind of sad that you and your sister would plan something for your dad's birthday and mine has just passed. I did not even get a call from your sister. I talked to you though. I know, but your sister, she always does it for everyone else. Edit. Thanks for all the kind words and support. My girlfriend, also known as Nora Claire, will answer as many of your burning questions as she can whenever she is on break. Edit Sue. Her entitled mother just called me. I thought for a second that it was about the post, but she was just asking how things are. I told her girlfriend was asleep, but she was sitting right next to me listening to everything. Entitled mother talked about how much her feelings were hurt when the app was deleted, and asked me to try and persuade her into reinstalling it. I was nice about it. I was super vague, like, I'll be sure to ask her at some point. I noticed during the call that entitled mother would keep dropping subtle hints about how she wants to change, wants girlfriend to change, and if you weren't riding with her, I would quit my job and go on the road with her just to keep her safe. Another uniform shop Karen. My mum lost her job because of the Rona, but she landed a job at my school's uniform shop. We wear school uniforms in Australia. Because my aunt worked there and she has got a few stories, even though she has only been working there for about 2 weeks, I made a uniform shop story earlier. If you find this entertaining, you can check that out. I'm not sure when this happened because my mum didn't specify when, but one day a Karen walked into the shop asking to get a button sewn back on because it fell off. The buttons on the blazers are loose because if it gets caught on something, it could tear out a hole in the blazer, so they're loose, so only the button will come off and it's not a big deal if you know how to sew, but if you don't, you get a specialist. This Karen wanted a full refund of the blazer, even though she could just freaking Google it, or maybe even get their grandmother to sew it. But what was the real kicker was that it was secondhand, so she would have to get the original receipt that she didn't own to replace it. She was told that she couldn't get a refund for the entire blazer because it was secondhand, and she got raging and left. And I really don't know what made her think she could get a refund on a second-hand blazer when she could get someone to fix it for her. There's even a lady who runs a sewing business and is well known throughout the school to fix your clothes. It's your fault my children won't eat today. Saw another post that reminded me of this incident. I can't provide screenshots as this was close to 10 years ago, but I'll recount it as best I can. For months before this, I had been very ill. Should I lay on the couch throwing up water again, or go to the hospital kind of ill? I eventually found out I had developed an illness that required me to change my entire diet. So I went through my kitchen and boxed up maybe 80% of the canned and dry food I had. The box was too big and heavy for me to even get into my car, so I posted it online as a first come first serve offering. Shelf stable food for free. People dropped by throughout the day to pick through the box and grab what they wanted. Near the end of the day, it was still half full, and I had an email requesting a full list of everything that was in the box, including brand names and flavours. I said no. It was a big box, I was exhausted, and people were welcome to leave what they didn't want. Entitled mother: well, my kids are picky eaters, so I won't come and get it if you don't tell me what you have. Me: I understand. If you change your mind, you have my address. Entitled mother: no, I need this food for my kids. Just take pictures of everything if you're too lazy to write it down. Me: that's not something I'm able to do right now. Best of luck. Entitled mother: I just want you to know it's your fault my kids won't eat today, you stupid bench. At this point, I was frustrated and wanted the stuff off of my porch, so I called the local food bank and they sent someone to get it within a few hours. 2 days later, I'm awoken from a nap by pounding on my front door. She had changed her mind and come to get the food after all, and wanted to know where it was hidden. I told her I had donated it after she indicated she wouldn't come and get it, and she was incensed. I had to close the door in her face and threatened to call the police to get her to stop screaming and leave my house. Entitled mother forces herself into a candy store that isn't open. So I got a call back yesterday from candy store that I applied to a few months ago. My now boss wanted me to come in today for orientation, so that's paperwork and a tour. Keep in mind, this candy store is a new location and doesn't open until Thursday. Also, I'm in the US, so masks are still required in public spaces and businesses. In addition, where I live, customers aren't allowed to touch any unpackaged food, so things like those buffet things in ShopRite aren't allowed to be opened yet. So I was in the back of the store filling out paperwork, and work friend and boss were talking about something in the office. Boss had asked me that if anyone came into the store to just let them know we weren't open until Thursday. So I started filling out my forms, and occasionally people would walk in and I would politely let them know we weren't open until Thursday, and then they would leave. Enter entitled mother and entitled kid. Entitled kid was your typical entitled 8-year-old, but entitled mother didn't look like a Karen. Now, just a point that will be relevant later on, neither of them were wearing masks. I walked up to them, staying 6 feet away and having my mask on. Me: Hey ma'am, I'm sorry but we aren't open yet. Entitled mother. Ugh, it's almost the end of the day. Me, yeah, but... Entitled kid. Ooh, can I get some of those, mum? Can I? Entitled mother. Sure, just ask this nice young man. Me, ma'am, we aren't open yet. Entitled mother. BS, you just don't want to work. Entitled kid. Ooh, wait, can I get some of those too? Me. I'm sorry, but we aren't open yet. We'll be open on... Entitled mother. What was that? I couldn't hear you. Me. I'm sorry, but we aren't open yet. We will... Sorry, still couldn't hear you. Would you mind taking your mask off? Me. Sorry, I'm legally not allowed to. Speaking of which, would you and your son mind putting on a mask? Entitled mother. Fine. To herself. No other businesses have forced us to. She grabbed out cloth masks and gave one to her son and put the other one on herself. Both of them wore them incorrectly, with their noses hanging out. Entitled mother. Now will you serve us because we put on the stupid masks? Me. I'm sorry, but no, as I... Entitled mother. Blimey. We put on the masks, now serve us. My boss apparently heard this and came on out. What seems to be the matter, and who said the Lord's name? Entitled mother. Are you the manager? Boss. Yes. Entitled mother smugly. Your worker here is being lazy and won't serve me and my son, even so far as attempting to kick us out of the store. Boss. Ma'am, we aren't open yet. The store doesn't open until Thursday. Entitled kid. Mom, I want candy now. Entitled mother to entitled kid. One moment, sweetie. And now to my boss. Well, there was no obvious signs. My boss pointed to the giant words that said, Grand Opening July 2nd. Entitled mother. Well, your employee was being rude to us. Boss. How so? Entitled mother. He came up to us and came within 6 feet of us when we weren't wearing masks. Boss. Well, you should have been wearing a mask when entering a business. Entitled mother. I was told by my doctor that I'm not supposed to wear a mask. Let me show you. I have an ID card. Boss sighed and looked at the card. I know these are fake. Entitled mother. No, it's not. Boss. You forgot to fill in your birth date and the reason. Entitled mother. Whatever. Just let me get my kid some candy. Boss. For the last time, we're not open. Please leave. Entitled kid slipped under the ribbon and started going around and grabbing candy with his bare hands. Worker friend sees this and tries to stop the kid from tearing up the store. Boss. What in the world? Entitled mother. I hope your business fails. Entitled kid, come here and let's go. Boss. Are you crazy? Your son just ruined half of my merchandise. Worker friend, call the police. Entitled mother. Why are you calling the cops? I have done nothing wrong. Boss. Your son just ruined my merchandise. Entitled mother. How? Boss. We are in the middle of a health crisis. We can't just have people reaching into candy containers with their hands that are covered in dirt and bacteria. Entitled mother. Well, you should have just let him get his candy, cause then we would have paid and been out of here by now. Boss. For the last time, we aren't open for business yet. Entitled mother. Whatever. She then pulled down her mask and coughed in boss's face. Her son did the same thing, but instead spat at me. She grabbed her kid, who had grabbed as much candy as he could fit in a bag he found, then dashed out of the store, and were gone by the time the police arrived. This all happened on a day when I was supposed to just fill out forms and take a tour of the facility. Update. I just want to clarify a few things. I don't know why my boss left the door unlocked. 2. We gave the footage from the camera to the police. 3. I haven't heard whether or not she and her son were caught yet. 4. The candy was out because we were getting the store ready to open for Thursday. 5. The kid reached his hand into the bucket of the dispensers on our wall of candy. is essentially just a gravity-fed hopper with a bucket on the bottom. You are supposed to grab the scoop to dispense candy. He lifted the flap and reached in to grab candy. And our final story today, my dad makes us give him our underwear so he can figure out which one of us clogged the toilet. I'm not sure if this belongs on this sub, but I'm still really shaken up by it, and I need to put this somewhere people will actually read it. My dad has had a few incidents in the past, including yelling at an Amtrak employee and insulting me and my sister, but this was by far his worst one yet. My dad had discovered that the toilet was clogged in the morning. He asked my sister and I who did it, and neither of us did, so we both said no. He told us that he knew it was one of us because there's blood in the toilet, and no one else here gets periods. Please note that while I am assigned as a female at birth, neither my sister or I were on our period. He at first just grounded us to our rooms, but the more we didn't say anything, the angrier and more entitled he got. He proceeded to force us to stand in the hall outside of the restroom until one of us confessed, saying that he deserved answers. We were not allowed to leave to use the other bathroom or to get something to eat. We were not allowed to talk or sit down. He periodically went by and interrogated us, stepping into our personal space and trying to intimidate us. This went on for about 1 to 2 hours, maybe longer. At one point, he was interrogating us, and I started crying and hyperventilating. He scoffed and said, "You wouldn't be crying if you were innocent." He then got up in my face and stared me down. I closed my eyes. He was so close I could feel his breath on my face. Eventually, he scoffed again and went away. My sister and I whispered to each other, telling each other that we didn't do it. We debated just having one of us confess anyway, but decided that we would face him together. Truthfully. Another 15 minutes go by and my dad comes back. He tells us that since neither of us would tell him who did it, we would have to change out of our underwear and he'd inspect it for blood. And whoever was on their period was the one who clogged the toilet. I'm sorry, what? I initially refused, but I was too scared to do anything except softly say no. He got even more annoyed and said that if I didn't, he'd take it as an admission of guilt. I know you guys are probably expecting me to put up a fight, but at this point I was starving and just wanted it over with so I could go eat. So me and my sister complied. I wasn't wearing any underwear. It was a Sunday morning and I was in my pajamas. So he made me put on a pair of his pants so he could look at mine. He inspected and obviously found nothing because neither of us were on our periods. He then decides that instead of him, God forbid, being wrong about something, we must be using tampons, and that's why there was no blood. So I suggested that maybe someone had cut themselves shaving. He glared at me and said in an incredibly condescending voice, "Really? That's what you think happened?" Eventually my brother came home and my dad gave up and let us go, citing some BS like, "You now have permission to go make food." I'm not sure if it was because he came to his senses or because he didn't want to punish us like that in front of other people, but I didn't really care. I was just glad that nothing else happened and I could go hide under my covers in my bedroom and cry. I didn't end up eating breakfast that day, and he basically ignored us for the rest of the time we were there. Entitled parents killed my pet and then blamed me. In this story, the entitled parents are my mum and dad. This happened 3 years ago. A little bit of background, a few months before my birthday, my grandmother and aunt asked me what I wanted the most, and I told them I really wish I could own a pet bird, because I personally find them really cute, and I always wanted a pet bird ever since I was a kid. And on my special day, my grandma and aunt surprised me with 4 beautiful parrot-like birds inside a cage, and I was so happy but also felt bad because I knew they were expensive. But at the end of the day, I was still really glad that they did this for me, and I was really happy and couldn't wait to bring them back home. On our way home, we bought some food and stuff that was necessary for the birds. After we got back home, we temporarily put the birds in a suitable place for the night. The next day in the morning, my mum told me that she put the cage outside the house because she said she felt bad that the birds were stuck in the cage. So she put them outside the house so the birds can feel and see the fresh air so they can feel less trapped. After looking and playing with the birds, I went back inside my room to get ready to take a shower. And as I was showering, I heard a loud noise that's coming from outside. And so I rushed and I put on my clothes, etc., to then find out 2 birds were missing and the cage had fell down. It was a mess. I panicked and I didn't really know what to do, so I called up my parents and I showed them the mess, and this is what they said. Entitled mother and father. What on earth happened? I don't know, I just got out of the shower, but I think that, Don't you dare lie to us. You always listen to music in high volume. Otherwise, you would have known about the birds. Yeah, but I just said I just got out of the shower. Entitled mother. This is your fault. If you didn't listen to music at such high volumes, you could have saved them, so don't give me excuses. I was crying at this point and I had started to unconsciously scratch myself. My mother noticed this and started shouting at me. Why are you hurting yourself? This is your fault to begin with, and you're going to hurt yourself? I was literally broken down and I was really upset. I said, but I wasn't. I told you, I just got out of the shower. I'm sorry, okay? I'm really sorry. I know I messed up. I should be disciplined. Why don't you just hit me? Anything. Just please, I'm really sorry. Entitled father. Oh, I will hurt you, alright? You do deserve to be punished. I'll push you down the flaming stairs if I have to. My mum somewhat felt bad for me when my dad said that, so she just told me to go back inside, but even then she still had a stern face. Note that I was still crying uncontrollably. You know when you cry so much where it makes it really hard to breathe? Yeah, that sort of crying. I went inside, bawling my eyes out, and then I heard my dad laughing at me, and he told me that my crying sounds like I was laughing, and then he told me to stop laughing, this isn't funny, with a smirk on his face. I went straight into my room with my mum still following me from behind, and even so, I could still hear my dad laughing and degrading me from my room. My mum went inside my room to somewhat comfort me, and yet still continue berating that it was my fault that the birds got killed. After I went into my room, my dad released the 2 remaining birds that were in the cage to set them free, and sadly, the cat that probably ate the other 2 caught one of them, and only 1 bird was free, or at least, that's what my mum told me. After some hours, when I was about to sleep, my mum hugged me. I guess it was her way of saying sorry without actually saying it. But yeah, my birthday present that was given to me by my grandma and aunts didn't even manage to stay for a whole day. My mum also told me to not tell them that they died this quick. By the way, if anyone is wondering why I broke down so quickly, it was because the past few weeks I already had some problems that I wouldn't go into detail of and was already not in the best of my moods. And this event was my breaking point. Entitled mother tries to steal one of my dogs, then a hero saves the day. Backstory, so me and my neighbour have been arguing a lot recently about my car being on the driveway instead of in my garage. She says that it makes the neighbourhood look trashy. Now I have a large family of dogs and I decided to turn my garage into a workshop so I can make food bowls and dog houses without having to buy them at the store. Here's the story. So yesterday I was going downstairs to check on the newborn pup, Poppy, when I heard the doorbell ring. When I answered, Entitled mother was there with her kind toddler. As soon as I opened the door, kind toddler happily ran inside the moment he saw the puppies. I let him go because I trusted he would just pet them and stuff. We argued a lot about the driveway thing when I lost my temper and screamed at her about the garage being a workshop for the dogs. Now I've told her this many times before, but that was the first time I lost my cool. We stared at each other for a minute when suddenly a light bulb popped up over her head. She asked with a smug face, "May I use the restroom?" I was mad at her, but it seemed like a reasonable request. I told her where it was and she went down the hall. I went to talk to my girlfriend in the kitchen. We chatted for a while. Then I went to check on the dogs, which were all either barking or uncomfortable. That's when I realised Entitled mother had Poppy. I screamed to my girlfriend what was happening and we both ran outside to see Entitled mother getting into her minivan. Kind toddler was in the car, probably happily thinking that his mummy had got him a new puppy. She was trying to start up the car with her door still open. Me and my girlfriend ran as fast as we could to the minivan, but we weren't fast enough. Entitled mother already started up the car in time. She took a smug glance at us, which suddenly turned into a look of surprise. I turned around to see Grizzly, the 13-year-old senior, running out of the door. Him, being a golden doodle, ran much faster than I could ever dream of and jumped into the front seat right before Entitled mother closed the door. For 20 seconds, all I could hear was bark, bark, bark. Entitled mother opened the door with multiple scratches on her face and kicked Grizzly in the face. And that's when the war flashbacks came up of Grizzly as a puppy getting kicked in the face by a Karen, and he bit right into Entitled mother's ankle. I football tackled Grizzly so he wouldn't do any more damage while my girlfriend got Poppy. In the end, me and my girlfriend have to go to court because entitled mother claims to an officer that Grizzly attacked her for no reason and wanted him put down. I'll make another post of what happens in court. Send your prayers. Entitled mother leaves her kid in my garden, then storms out after I tell her off. This happened about an hour ago and I'm still irritated about it. I'm a single mother to 3 kids. Daughter is 5, son 1 is 4, and son 2 is almost 2. My eldest 2 were heartbroken when they learned that we couldn't visit our local park because of the current situation. Nasty germs, as they call it. So to entertain them, I bought quite a few new things for them to play with. My family have also contributed to this, including buying and setting up a Wendy house and moving a large plastic climbing frame with 2 attached slides from my uncle's house to here. I'm very grateful for everything they've done. My kids love playing outside and I'm lucky to have a lot of garden space. I understand that not everyone has a lot of space in their gardens, but we also live in a rural area, so there's a lot of land to explore, including walking trails, a lake, and mountains. You can see everything kid related from the street. My garden isn't level over one side, so I put everything on that side instead. Onto the story. Son 2 had just gone down for his nap when daughter and someone asked if they could go out to play in the garden. I said okay, unlocked the door for them and locked the front gate. Just a simple metal clasp to join it together so the kids can't open it, and then headed back in to start tidying up. I went upstairs to put some clothes away and heard the gate close. I thought that it might be my stepfather dropping off some treats for the kids. So imagine my surprise when I walked out of the front door and saw a child instead. Daughter is very good with fiddly things like the clasp on the gate, but she can't open it, so I assume that entitled mother opened it. Let sweet kid in, then closed it again. Me. Oh, hi there, what are you doing here? Hi, my mum said that I can come in to play. Can I? Me, surprised and confused to say the least. Where is your mum now? I'm sorry honey, but I don't think I know you. What's your name? Sweet Kid. My name is Sweet Kid. My mum said she'd be back soon. Me. She left you here? Yeah, can I go and play now? Me, feeling bad for the kid. Okay, but I'll have to ask you to clean your hands first. Do you know about the nasty germs? She nods. Okay, good. I'll go and get some things and then we'll sort you out. I go inside to get my hand gel. Help Sweet Kid clean her hands, then walk with her to the back of the garden. Me. Daughter, son 1, this is Sweet Kid. She's going to be here for a little bit. How about we do some drawings with chalk? The kids all say yes, so I draw some lines between them all and tell them that it's their drawing space to give them some room to socially distance. I keep an eye on them but also turn to check the street every so often. I was busy helping someone get a stone out of his sandal when I heard the gate close again. Entitled mother. Sweet Kid, it's time to go. Me. Oh hi, you must be Sweet Kid's mum. Can I have a word please? I gesture a little way away from the kids. Entitled mother. No, we have to go now. I have to get back home to let my dog out. Me. Well, I'd like an explanation before you leave. Why did you just leave your child in my garden? Why didn't you at least knock on the door and ask? Entitled mother. I needed to go to the shop and I didn't want to take her with me. Normally I'd let her play in the park, but it's closed. So when I saw your garden, I thought it was a great idea. I'm sure you understand how stressful it is to be a mum during this time. Me. I do, but I also understand how irresponsible it is to leave your child with a stranger while you go elsewhere. The things in this garden belong to me and my kids, not to anyone who happens to be walking past. Entitled mother. You're not a stranger. I've seen you on the school run and I knew you lived here. Me. I didn't recognize your child and I don't recognize you either. Knowing someone from the school doesn't instantly mean you can just leave them with that person. Entitled mother. Why are you making such a stink about this? It's done now anyway. Me. I'm making a stink about this because you left your child here with a stranger that you didn't know. If she'd been here any longer, I'd have ran the police. Entitled mother. Why would you have gone that far over this? You're a selfish person. keeping the gate locked when other kids could be making use of the stuff here. Me. Are you seriously that stupid? You left your child here. If my youngest wasn't napping, I'd have asked sweet kid where she lived and taken her back to your house. I'd have quite happily waited outside to give you a bollocking then too. What kind of parent leaves their child with a stranger while they pop to the shop? Next time, don't leave your child in a stranger's garden and you won't have any problems. If you drop sweet kid here again, I'm going to ring the police. What if I didn't actually live here? What if something happened to her? Entitled mother. Come on, sweet kid, we're leaving. I'm not going to stand here and listen to a child tell me how to parent. I'm 23, so yes, a young parent. Me. Well, clearly this child can parent better than you can. Get out of my garden now. Entitled mother glares at me, grabs sweet kid by the arm and starts storming off. Sweet kid looks sad and waves at me. I wave back with an apologetic look on my face. I feel so sorry for her. After she left, daughter strides up to me with her arms folded over her chest. She's smiling, so I know it isn't something serious. Me. What's wrong, daughter? Daughter. You said naughty words. Me, chuckling. Sorry, baby. Mum will put some money in the naughty word pot. The naughty word pot money goes towards sweets for them if we go to the shop. Yes, we go all together. No child endangerment here. And that's it. I'm hoping I don't see much of Entitled Mother when school eventually starts back up, but I'd be happy to see Sweet Kid again. She and daughter played very nicely together and I could see the potential for friendship there. Edit. I've had a few comments about one thing or another, so I'll just answer here. 1. The park. When she said that she would leave Sweet Kid in the park to go to the shop, I assume she means the local tiny shop directly opposite the park. It has huge glass windows and a crystal clear view of the park, which is quite small too. I'm not justifying her action of leaving Sweet Kid there at all, but it might explain why she thought it was okay. 2. Reporting Entitled Mother to some kind of children's services or the police. I mentioned in a comment that at first I thought that Sweet Kid might have been lying about her mother, leaving her there, so I decided to wait it out. So I didn't want to report her straight away. I thought that perhaps it was just a case of a child who wanted to play in a garden that was basically a park. If a child goes missing in this area, you know about it pretty quickly, as parents, family members and neighbours will knock on doors asking if anyone has seen the missing child. After thinking on it, I called the non-emergency number for the police and reported what happened. They took Sweet Kid's name and descriptions of both of them, as well as my postcode, etc. for an area reference. But other than that, they said that not too much could be done because of the lack of information that was available. No surnames, no first name for Entitled Mother, no known address. I would have called Children's Services, but their offices are closed for the weekend and only an emergency number is available. I didn't want to take up time on that line that another child could use, so I called the police instead. I hope that makes sense and it doesn't come across as I'm not worried about the child. I am. If I knew anyone who knew her, I'd be asking all sorts of questions to get more information to make a better report. 3. Also, thank you to the people who've left very kind comments. I always feel like less of a mother because I have had my kids so young, and I always feel like I have something to prove. Usually I have a very I don't care what you think attitude, but it's different when my kids are concerned. So much judgment goes around about all kinds of parents, whether they're young or not. It's so refreshing to see such lovely comments. Too long didn't read. Entitled Mother leaves her child in my garden. My daughter potentially makes a new friend. Entitled Mother comes back and flies off the handle with me when I tell her off. Bro, that was so wholesome. The naughty word pot. Right, you know, I never say naughty words, bruh, okay? And it's extending on that wholesomeness, let's do another story. Wholesome, malicious compliance. My daughter argued over half a donut. She ended up with no donut. This is all in fun, but it was nice to win for once. Last night I bought a package of donuts for my family. There's 5 of us to share. This morning there was half of a donut along with several whole donuts left from my daughter taking a half and leaving the other. I took the half since nobody had eaten it and had a wonderful snack. A little while later, my daughter comes in upset that someone had eaten her half of a donut. She's 16. I don't know. She gets upset by a lot of things. I said I ate it and she got mad and said, "That was mine. I was saving it," etc. I explained that if you take half of a donut and leave the other half in the family or community pack, that half is free game. If you want the other half, set it aside. My wife took my daughter's side. My younger two agreed with me. We ended by agreeing that if someone leaves a half of a donut in the pack, nobody should take it except the person that left it there. Exact wording. Fast forward a couple of hours though, and I'm standing in the kitchen and see that exactly half of the donuts are gone, which gives me an idea. I wash my hands, take out every donut, cut them in half, and fill the pack with newly halved treats, along with a note. Some men just want to watch the world burn. My daughter came in the kitchen and started saying, "Ha ha ha, very funny," and reached for a donut. I jokingly smacked her hand away and said, "Sorry kid, those are my donuts. Those are the rules." Her eyes went wide. She was speechless. My wife thought it was hilarious and said, "I win." I let my daughter have her donut anyway. That's some wholesome stuff. Dad goals, bro. Dad goals, man.